Hello, everyone. It is Pat, and today is Friday the 13th. And I guess I felt compelled or inspired to come on and do a little bit of a message today and pull a couple of cards from some of the goddess decks. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One has to do with the fact that, this whole idea of Friday the 13th being a bad luck day. It's this day that's gotten very maligned over the centuries. And it really doesn't have anything to do with that. 13 represents, the goddess, the feminine energy, the lunar cycles in a year, the weeks in a season, things like that. And when paternal energy, more masculine energy came more into play, it really demonized or sought to demonize the feminine and as a way of pushing it down. And so things like this Friday the 13th and black cats and stuff like that. If you're trying to overwhelm or defeat an opponent, sometimes the best way to do that is to muddy up their reputation. So as we've all seen many times in when there's lots of political things going on, they really throw mud at their opponents. But so I wanted to come on today as with messages to kind of just bring some better perspective to that, and to help people understand that it's a kind of a very maligned perspective that we've gotten. And maybe you don't have that perspective. Maybe you in your life, and I know some people who have come to see the number 13 as a very good luck number for them. When they see that number, they know that something good is about to happen. And so it gives them hope. And that's a great way to think of it. Being associated with the divine feminine, especially coming on a Friday, which Friday is a day that was named after the goddess Freya, who also represents, she's a Norse goddess, a Norse mythological goddess there, but she's, the day Friday was named after her. She's a very bold goddess, but also one who's associated with, pleasure and having fun like we do on Fridays at the end of our work week. So anyways, and I also wanted to follow up today with some additional messages around the weekly and monthly reading that I did. So the other important thing I wanted to convey in this is to look at, I like to bring into play astrological aspects. Now, I'm not an astrologer. I don't get super deep into, and I'm not very knowledgeable about all the detailed planets, houses, things like that, or the different kinds of sextiling and opposing and stuff like that. But I do listen to the people that do, to kind of glean from that what the themes are going on and how that's playing into the overall energies. Because oftentimes the cards that come up reflect those energies. And this time is no different. I was just listening to a very good astrologer, Tanya Gabriel. You can find her on YouTube. And as we come into the 15th, we're also coming into a new moon. And we're in the sign of Scorpio. And there's a lot of energies that are playing around, or that are at play, I should say, with regard to that. And that came in through the cards. But for today, when I pulled cards from the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck, and a couple from the Goddess Guidance Oracle card deck. And so the messages are very interesting ones. So we had the Angel of Expression come up today, which says to speak your truth and express yourself clearly. So there's something that needs to be said. And it reminded me of the card that we got for the end of this week from the Akashic Tarot, and with the Archangel Gabriel card. This was in the weekly reading. And where I said something's going to be coming forward. There's going to be announcements, because Gabriel's a messenger angel. And so she brings forward messages. It can be announcements, things being heralded, or it can simply be people stepping forward courageously to speak their truth about something. And that's the message that they're bringing forward. And that's what this card speaks to as well. It indicates that there may be something that you need to share, a perspective that you need to give, a truth that you need to tell. that maybe you've been holding off on out of fear of hurting someone or who it might hurt or how it might be perceived. But this card suggests that it's important to express that at this time. Gabriel's also a very creative. She spurs energies of creativity. So you might be doing it in writing or giving a speech or something like that. It's a time for creative projects as well, and that is a form of expression, okay? So that's one of the messages for today. And, sometimes people are worried about how to say something, and, it really, if you sit and meditate on it, you can find a way and ask for help. Especially of the Archangel Gabriel, you can find a way to speak what you need to, or say what you need to say, with grace and with maybe a balanced perspective or what have you. Okay, the other message that came out was this God of the underworld. And it says, something which no longer serves you is about to end. So as we come into new moon energies, this very much is endings and beginnings. New moon energies is very much about new things getting started. There's a lot of exciting energy around new perspectives, and maybe, expressing your truth brings new perspective to people, and that starts new things. But it also means that something has to go, that we have to be willing to let go of things that are no longer serving us and admit the truth to ourselves about that it's time to move on for something, let it go, let it be. Now, it usually is, something in your personal life. It might be a pattern or behavior. It might be a relationship that you are aware that no longer serves you, that needs to, that's about to end. It could be an old way of eating that you had, if you were like me, a sugarholic, and you realize that it no longer serves you anymore. But it has many levels that this can come into play. But it is what's going on, and we are seeing that go on in the world at large. There's a lot that's there are things. There's a administration that's coming to an end. And so it's time to let go and move into the new. Okay. So that, and with regard to that, I want to just revert back to the monthly reading that I had done where we had relationship harmony come up. And in relation to beloved one. And I had mentioned that, we here in the country, we may think of our president as our beloved one. And that relationship harmony maybe had to do with the fact that the new that's trying to come in is trying to harmonize the divide between the partisanship, etc. But that partisanship, that, and the people who are still, in that energy, it doesn't want to die. But it is one of the things that is coming to an end. And what I also got, Archangel Raguel, who's on this, he's the Archangel of Justice and Fairness. And what also came to me after I finished that reading for YouTube is that justice isn't done yet. And part of that Gabriel energy may be that there may be more whistleblowers, more people coming forward, might even be women, given the feminine energy that's, coming forward. There may be people coming forward with stories, whistleblowers' perspectives, and some of that evidence is very damning. And so it may appear to get, even uglier for a little bit. But, sometimes there are situations in life that, they kind of get worse before they get better. And for those of us who have been watching this whole thing play out and we think, oh God, how can it get any worse? And we're hoping that it doesn't get any worse. But sometimes things are I'm trying to think of a good analogy or a good metaphorical representation of that. sometimes things really look awful before they turn beautiful. I guess you could think of the ugly duckling who turns into the beautiful swan, right? They have this period where they go through where their feathers are all icky looking and everything, but when you're cleaning something out and, when you're cleaning out your garbage can, it looks gross, it looks disgusting, it smells disgusting, but eventually it all gets cleared out and you can start with a clean slate. So just know that justice isn't done yet. It's not over. And there's more to come to light. And a lot of it is very damning evidence that can't be refuted. And but it means that there's newness around the corner. Okay. So, and the energies around this time, we're in the astrological sign of Scorpio. And both the number 13 and the fact that we have a new moon coming in on the 15th, Scorpio has to do with purging. It has to do with, kind of getting to and uncovering the truth, bringing what has been unseen or unconscious forward into consciousness, forward into being seen, okay? And 13 also has to do with the unseen, like the uncovering of secrets, of the uncovering of wisdom, the uncovering of information. There's always kind of two sides to, because we live in a duality, so there's a bright side and a shadow side to a lot of things. But just know that, that is part of what's taking place in this time. And I know in our weekly reading this week, we had Haniel with sensitivity, which I had spoken about at the time as being the fact that there's a lot of emotional energy around. And the divine feminine energy has a lot to do with water and the emotions. And we had Take Back Your Power, and our one of our cards was, the sands of time, about rolling up your sleeves and getting to work. One of the astrological things that's happening also now is that Mars has been in retrograde, just like Mercury is retrograde at the end of October going into the beginning of November. And now Mars was in retrograde, and now it's going direct. And when those planetary energies start to go in the direct path, their energies are powerful and intense. And Mars is one, as I understand from watching my astrologer people, that turns feelings into action, which is what these two cards were about and why we got that roll up your sleeves and get to work. It turns, when we have a lot of intense feelings, it does make us want to do something about it. And that's part of why we have that energies going on of roll up your sleeves. It's time to get into action and move things forward in a new way. So, as I said here, this card came out for us too, Time and Tide, the turning of the tide. That's very much, and it's very synchronous with what I've just been talking about. The feminine energy has to do with water and the emotions. We're tired of feeling like we are caught in the ruins, stuck in a certain situation, feeling like we can't get out of it, and that we've been enforced in that. So we're looking to break free of it. And but the tide is turning to more heart-centered space. Okay. And now some of the other cards that came out for this Friday the 13th from the goddess cards was Diana with the message of focused intention. And it's about keeping your actions that you feel compelled focused on your target, on your intention. And your intention is your underlying essence, the underlying essence or outcome, not necessarily needing it to be or happen in a specific way with specific things. That's more referred to as scripting. If you're desiring of something or hoping for a different outcome, focusing on what the essence of that is. What are you really looking to experience? And that's your intention that you can focus on. And that allows you to be open to receptivity, allows you to be open to receiving it But maybe it comes in a different way than what you initially had thought it would. Okay. So, and this card is also feminine energy, about receptivity. You know, masculine energy is more like the Mars energy, where it's really gets into action and roll up your sleeves. And it's actually, as I understand, Mars is the sacred masculine energy. So we have a big balancing of both going on right now, masculine and feminine energies. But the feminine energy is receptive. And it says, allow yourself to receive, and this will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give to others. All right, because if you're always the doer, you can wear yourself out, you can burn yourself out. And it also comes from an element, sometimes on its darker side, can come from an element of needing to control outcomes and not feeling like someone has power over you if you're always the one who's doing it and being the giver. But it's important for the completion of the cycle of give and take, to be the receiver. And you can get a lot from being the receiver. So anyways, those are some messages I wanted to bring forward for this Friday the 13th. And for however it may be of benefit to you. And if it is in some way, please feel free to, comment below. I'm always happy to hear that and see that. So anyways, I hope you have a lovely Friday and a wonderful weekend. And I wish you many wonderful new beginnings. Take care, everyone.